Ever wondered how sports photographers get that really nice photo? That game-winning moment, that game-winning shot? Well, I'm going to break down how I do my sports photos. Let's do it. First of all, I want to say this is specifically how I do my game shots. Obviously, how I do my shots is different to how Joe Blow does his shots. So I thought this would be easier to show you with an example. And that's where I've done the liberty of shooting a rugby league game in my local area. For me, there are three main elements that I personally dictate to be a successful sports photo. And I'll show you some examples in a second. But they are the face of the subject, the ball, and the club logo. With these three elements, it is sure to be a standalone, well-balanced photo. This is my go-to positioning for my sports photos. If I look here, this is simply just a map on my phone of the location of the football club. Now, say for example, the team I was shooting was running this way down the field. My ideal positioning would be around about here in the in goal, or likewise over here in the in goal. This is for two main reasons. One, the action is coming towards me, which I obviously want. You don't want to be shooting the backs and the numbers of players. You want to be shooting their front, face, remember? Club, ball, face. You want to be shooting all three of those elements, and you can't do that when you're behind them. Once again, now you might say, well, why not get best of both worlds and camp right underneath the goalpost at dead center? Two reasons, two literal reasons. Goal and post. They're in the way. They will 100% be in your way. Most of the action happens in the center of the field. When you have the 6 and the 7, the halfback and the 5'8", they are in the middle of the field. Your playmakers are either side of those posts. You're most likely going to miss them. They're the players that get the most footy. They're distributing, they're your key players, so you want to be photographing them. You'd notice in some of the photos that I took, I was actually on the sideline here as well. I was roaming up and down the sidelines here. Now, this was in the second half where the team I was photographing was going up this way. Now, there's two reasons for being on the sideline. One, you're a bit closer. And number two, you get a bit of a different angled shot. These shots that I got on the sideline were different than being in goal. But there's one vital key aspect that you miss out on. You miss out on potential tries. You always want to be capturing those tries because they're your key moments. They're your high impact moments. Nevertheless, your field of view when you're trailing up and down the sidelines is pretty much anywhere, because you're running, you're actively up, going down, going up, going down. A lot of the times when you're on the sideline as well, you get a nice shot of the player in motion of passing the ball because they're always looking to the sideline. That's just generally how people pass. They look to the sideline, look to where they're distributing. Now, if I come back into the in goal, for example, you might be asking yourself, why aren't you roaming in the in goal? Well, the fact is I am. I'm roaming between these two spots here. I'll go in between them, depending on how shifty the ball is or how often teams favor a side to score tries in. I'll often be in that side also. Another thing I want to touch on is settings used. So my settings varied. When I first rocked up, it was cloudy, almost about to rain. Well, it did rain, and it was very moody. Whereas later on, it turned to golden hour. So the sun was coming out, the clouds moved away. That's when I had to adjust. The settings, I would have loved to use the exact same settings all through, but as conditions change, so do your camera settings. Obviously, with sports photography, I always shoot at a minimum of 1,000 shutter speed, 1/1,000. On the day, I was shooting at about 3,200 shutter speed. While also maintaining a low ISO, you want to balance these out so you still get enough light in your photos. Now, speaking of light, aperture. Obviously, we all want that nice bokeh of an image at 2.8, but in reality, that's just not possible. Especially when your subject is far away, you're not going to be able to shoot 2.8 and still get face, logo, and ball all in focus while still maintaining getting the whole player in focus. It's just not going to happen. My aperture was constantly at around 3.5 to around 5. This ensures that I get everything from the head to the boots all in focus, all looking nice and sharp. In terms of sports photos, obviously those three elements that I spoke about are very crucial in terms of what I dictate as a good sports photo. However, there are a few other things that you need to capture when taking sports photos. One is obviously the action. You want to be taking as many action shots as possible. Ball in hand, scoring tries, setting up tries, nice photos of players in motion of passing the ball. But then because it's sports, there's an emotional impact to that as well. Those high impact moments, those tries turn into celebratory moments that you want to be able to capture. There's a good amount of photographers out there that think, oh, they got the winning shot with the try. Wait a few extra seconds. Just keep your camera up for another 5-10 seconds and see what captures, because you'll be able to get some nice photos of your teammates celebrating, of the team celebrating, you know, high-fiving, triumphing about the try. Same with another thing. If a team loses, there will most often than not be the player just on the ground seeming defeated. Those photos drive emotion. You want to get your viewer of the photos to be like they were actually there. By all means, photos of tries and stuff get that feeling, but when you flip it on its head and get the emotion of the actual game with, you know, defeated moments or close-up shots of them just following full emotion of being sad or being defeated, there's a wide range of photos that you can get that show emotion. It's all about just being creative on the day. Sometimes you'll get some other ones where, you know, bench players, they'll be looking over, they'll be standing up, trying to peek around, showing curiosity. You know, that's another one. There's multitude of shots that you can get which will show emotion and which will convey to the viewer that they're actually there in the situation, because that's ideally what you want. Another thing I like to do with my sports photos is shoot nice and low. This is the ground here. All right, my subject is here. I'm over here and I'm shooting upwards. So I'm always, you'll see, I'm down on my knee, like crouching down or on one knee, and I'll be shooting upwards. This conveys a hero shot. That's what you want. A hero shot gives the illusion that the subject is big, is, you know, heroic, because you want to tell the viewer that this is an athlete. Athletes are typically, you know, very high profile people. You want to convey that. You don't do that by looking down on the subject or looking at eye level. You do that by looking upwards. So that just about wraps it up. As I said, everyone does it differently. You just need to find what works for you. I've spent ages, I've been a sports photographer about, three and a half years now, and I still haven't got it down pat. I was 18 when I started, I'm 21 now, I still haven't got it down pat. People in their mid 40s still haven't got it down pat. Actually, probably some of those people do, but I'm still learning, you're probably still learning, so we're all doing it for the sake of getting better. It all just comes down to you, your creativity. You need to be creative when out on the sports field. By all means, shoot the action, but see what's around you. Sometimes you'll get a crowd pick, which is awesome. You'll get them celebrating a try, which is great. Sometimes you get the coach blowing his kettle with his hands in the air. Perfect. Or you'll get the try celebration where they're high-fiving each other. Even better. But once again, just be creative. Just get creative, that's all I'm saying. Look around, scan around, see what else is there. It won't hurt, I promise. I want to leave you with this. Tell a story. Tell a story with your sports photography. People will love you for it. If you're able to convey a story within 10 images that you post on your Instagram, you've done the job. When people comment fire or holy shit, this looks so good, you've done your job. You do that by telling a story. You don't do that just by, well, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but in my experience, there's a benefit to posting just random photos of the game. There truly is. But the moment where you can switch that and start showing a bit more detail and start showing a bit more drive, I guess you could say, within your sports photography storytelling, it's just going to exponentially grow. It's all gonna be worth it. Boom, boom. I've got so many more sports photography and videography jobs coming up, so there's plenty more content where this came from. Nevertheless, how do I sign out? I'm so bad at this. I can never sign out properly. Just be creative. I can't make that my catchphrase. That's too generic. What's my catchphrase? Nah, I'm not gonna have. I don't need a catchphrase. I don't need a catchphrase. I don't need a catchphrase. What else? What else? What else haven't I covered? What else haven't I covered? It's literally dark. Like I started and it was light, and now it's dark. I got my light. New softbox, by the way.